Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for the mid-season finale of Reign, Season 2, Episode 10, Mercy. And this episode, amazing, awesome stuff in this episode. Now, I have to admit, this was not as big as the originals or Arrow, but it did not matter because this episode really paid off. It gave us everything that we've really wanted the entire season. It had some really great stuff in it. One huge twist, I have no idea where they're taking it. And, I definitely really love this episode, and I'm really looking forward to it. It really did what a good mid-season finale did. It wrapped up some of the plots. It introduced some new plots. It made us, more hyped up for when it comes back. And it really did what a good mid-season finale should do. And I, overall, really enjoyed it. So let's just get to this episode. So, we see Mary, she's sitting in her bed staring very vacantly, and you can see that she is still very affected. Of course, she was raped. I mean, she's not just going to get over this very easily. You know, the whole episode she's dealing with that. That's why the episode's called Mercy, because they're not showing any mercy. That's what this is all about, is that they're not going to show any mercy to these people. She sees Bash pulling in conspirators and packing them into the dungeon, and Francis tells Bash they need to find a man named Severin, and he tells him to use the rack or wheel on them, and Bash doesn't know about Mary, wonders if Francis is overreacting, and he doesn't realize, of course, that Mary was raped, so he thinks that Francis is completely overreacting about this, he doesn't think, but I like that Francis is really, doing what he should for her. However, you can see this whole episode that Francis is becoming exactly like his father. He is. And I'll talk about why, but Narcisse, in the meantime, is also missing, and Louie is there and says he has turned back once he heard the news, and Francis says the Protestant leader needs to be brought to justice, and if he plotted this, or to help if he wasn't, Mary is walking amongst the man they capture, and Catherine tells Francis that she's looking for her rapist, and will be until they catch him, and I thought that was interesting, and Francis asks her to get some rest, but she says she can't close her eyes without seeing him, and, I thought that scene was very well done. I just felt very bad for Mary. I love that Catherine wants to help her out, and Catherine's looking for her rapist as well, so I thought that was definitely very interesting. So Francis promises to hunt the men who hurt her to the ends of the earth, and Greer tells Castleroy that she's going to morning mass. She thinks it's smart after the attack, and she's worried because his money helped fund the attack and says he could hang for his treason. And of course, he is on the verge of, she knows what is happening to the Protestants. So she tells him that he has to give up his faith immediately, but he says he can't. She tells him he's dragging her down a dangerous path and begs him to change course. She doesn't want to be in a bad position. She doesn't want to be stuck with, questions and everything. She wants to be by his side. She's only looking for his best interest. And I think Greer is definitely doing the right thing, asking him to do that. I think that he definitely needs to do that, and I think that he should listen to her. So, Francis asks Mary what he can do for her. Oh, yeah, Francis asks Mary what he can do for her. And this scene was amazing. I was so happy by what happened in this scene. I thought this was fantastic. Basically, she says she should have known that those weren't their guards, and he reminds her that she was startled in the middle of the night and couldn't know. He blames himself, but she says these are the actions of evil people, and she says he thought he was doing right for France, but he says that's not true. He tells her he made choices under pressure from another, and I'm very happy. He finally tells her that he was being blackmailed for killing Henry at the joust, and Mary's stunned, and I'm very happy he told her, because it makes sense. I mean, it's not that I didn't see it coming. I didn't. I didn't know if France was really going to tell Mary, because I really was not sure. The position that we were in, I didn't really think he was going to, because, they said Mary can never find out, and now he has told her. So, by telling Mary now, here's what I think this is trying to show, basically, that Francis really does care about her. He's a very good husband and everything, and I definitely really enjoyed that scene. Thought that was very well done. He blamed himself, but she says those are the actions of evil people. She says he thought he was doing right for France, but basically he says Henry was a threat in France, and it's regicide, and she asks who found out the truth, and he says, it was Narcisse, and I was happy that he was completely honest with her. He didn't lie to her about anything. She says that makes sense now, and asks why he didn't tell her. He says she needed to be able to deny any involvement, and he says he kept thinking he would find a way out. And he then tells her that last night he found a way out when he found Montgomery. and he says he had to kill him to protect him. He says he has lied, time and again to protect her. And he tells her he knows last night can't be undone, but promise he will kill every last person who brought them this, and then will never let anyone hurt them again. So I thought that was very well done. I love that he really wants to help Mary, but killing people, I think, is going a little too far. I understand they did a very bad thing, but killing them, I don't think is what they should have done. Torturing, maybe, but not, I don't know. Bash tells Francis he has to come outside. Bash says the dungeon is full, and the men they are holding in the courtyard will die from the cold. Francis says they brought it on themselves and says France needs a king they can fear, so this will never happen again. He says to let them freeze. Mary's ladies rush inside to inner chambers, and obviously they're concerned for her. They don't know what happened to her. They can tell that she's upset about something, but they don't know what it is. And she asks why they're moving her into separate chambers, and she says it's because of the attack last night. Mary says she told a lie when she says she wasn't hurt. She tells them that she was raped, and Lola reaches for her. Mary backs up. She says she doesn't want to be touched because she was beaten and still hurts. She says she's going to stay under guard until she's sure there's no pregnancy. And that was very interesting, in my opinion, when she said that. When she said she wants to make sure there's no pregnancy, I didn't even think of that being a possibility. But then I remember there really wasn't any protection then. They didn't really have anything. So she could have definitely gotten pregnant. And if they would have done that, I think that would have been really weird. But there is that possibility. So I like that the show said that because I didn't even think of that. And I agree that, she needs to make sure there's no pregnancy because there could be. So her ladies promised to protect her. Mary says this was an act of war, and referencing to the 9th episode, and hatred against the monarchy. Lola says they care about her and are her friends. They ask what they can do and says Francis will make it right by finding and slaying the men that did it. Lola goes to see Francis and then tells him that she knows and she is sorry, and he says he is too. And she says she can't help but think if she had helped him more against Narcisse, it wouldn't have happened. He tells her it's okay, but she says she knows where Narcisse may have fled to because he mentioned to her just once. And she hands him a map of where to find it, and she says she knows that Narcisse deserves what he gets, but asks him to carefully weigh whether it's best he live or die since he needs nobles on his side. And I agree with Lola's saying. This is not Narcisse's fault, okay? Those men were not working for Narcisse. They were there to kill Francis. That's why they were there. Narcisse really has nothing to do with this, okay? So Francis really is going after the wrong person. Narcisse is not the person to go after. The person he should be going after is all these men that raped Mary. They had nothing to do with, Narcisse had nothing to do with it. So I agree with Lola, He should really think very carefully if he wants to kill him, because I don't think he should. So I was hoping that Francis would not kill Narcisse. So Leith comes to see Greer, asking for Castleroy. He tells her his orders are to surround up all Protestants for questioning. He asks if Mary can protect them, and she says she can't ask her to. He says they need to flee for their own safety. Leith tells her if she loves Castleroy, she needs to take him and get away as far from here as possible. And I love that Leith is back, because we haven't seen, Leith. We haven't seen Leith since, I believe, episode 6. And it was cool to see him again because, of course, now he is telling, I agree what he's saying to Greer, that if she really loves Castleroy, she needs to take him and get out of there because it's not safe in France. So I was kind of wondering, is Greer possibly going to leave France? I was wondering if that's what was going to happen there. So Catherine and Bash then come tell France that there was an uprising and a keep over the freezing. Catherine tells him to choose mercy or crush them all. Francis tells Bash to hang all those involved. He takes off, and Catherine looks down and sees blood in her hands. Then she sees her dead twin daughter's ghosts, and she looks back and sees the blood is gone as the girls run off. So she's still seeing their ghosts, and it makes sense why. With Claude back in her presence, it makes sense why. And of course, Claude still here. Still annoying as always, but there's actually something I did like that they did with Claude. Claude is playing the piano. Catherine comes in. She sees the dead twins there and tells her to leave the room. Claude tells her to go to hell. Catherine slaps her. She tells the twins to leave Claude alone. Henriette says Claude hated them and asks if she remembers how she died. And Catherine says that Claude suffocated them, and they tell her she lied to cover Claude. And they tell her to choose all this, to choose them all this time. And Catherine says there's no choice since they are already dead. They grab her arm, hurt her. They tell her to do to Claude what she did to them. They tell her if she doesn't do it, they will, and Claude will suffer. So, Catherine's terrified, and she's obviously very terrified at this point because she doesn't want anything bad to happen to Claude. Even though she doesn't want Claude to be in her presence right now, she doesn't want to kill Claude, obviously. She doesn't want anything bad to really happen to her. Which I would. I mean, Claude's a fucking bitch, so she's so annoying she needs to get off the show now, but, The Protestant leader calls out for Hugo. He's with Louie and they're looking around. They find that Hugo has hung himself, and the guards come to take Castleroy and beat him and drag him away. Castleroy tells Greer he'll be alright, and she cries, tells the guards she's one of the Queen's ladies, but they won't be moved. And when that happened, I'm like, okay, this is gonna get crazy. So Louie asks his men if Mary got the letter he sent her, and the man says he was killed by the intruders. And Louie asks if the assassins really made it that close to the chambers. And Mary is there, calls him in. She tells him she's fine. He says she's lucky, and he says he has information about the attackers. She tells him to tell him. He tells her that the men who provide the money hanged himself, and he says anyone involved in capture is captured already and hiding dead or run off. So Mary asks if the man who funded them has a wife, and she asks him to take him to the man's wife instead of bringing her in for torture. And she insists and says those men broke into her home and it's worth the risk, and I agree, it is worth the risk what they're doing. I mean, they raped her, so she doesn't care what they do to them, she just wants them to be, she just wants to get their revenge. She doesn't care what happens to them. So, she tells Catherine she's finished, she wants them gone, and, she says she wants them gone, and she's finished asking why, she wants her gone, and Catherine asks her to basically, Claude talks to some of the court ladies when Catherine comes in, sends the others out. Catherine tells Claude it's not safe for her in the castle, but doesn't know how much longer she can be safe. Now you decide to kick her out? Now you decide to? Seriously? Catherine hands her a pouch of gold, tells her to go where she wants. Claude says she's happy there. She tells Catherine she's finished asking why she wants her gone. Catherine asks her to please take it. She does and dumps the pouch. She says she doesn't need her money, says she has value to Francis. She calls her mother a relic and threatens her. She knows that they really don't want her gone. She knows that. She knows that her mother just wants to kick her out, which I'm happy that Catherine does because this bitch needs to go. Okay, she needs to go now. So Kenna comes in, tells her she's foolish for pushing Catherine that way. Claude says her mother hates her, and then she tells Kenna that she's nothing, and says Catherine will do anything for her blood. And I don't know how I feel about Kenna and Claude bonding. I mean, Kenna, can you be any more stupid? Claude doesn't care about you. She doesn't care about anyone. All she wants is people on her side, and she just wants people to listen to her. That's all she wants. She is an attention whore. She craves attention, and you're not friends, okay? She's not friends with anyone. She's just a big attention whore. That's all Claude is. So, Narcisse waits in the barn to Francis' sword at his throat, and I honestly thought Narcisse was going to die in this episode. I really did. Narcisse tells him he regrets pushing him on the Protestant issue. He tells Francis that the Protestants hate him, and he knows that Francis hates him too. He tells Narcisse he needs him alive because he changed his will to leave all his property and the money to the Protestant cause. He swears absolute loyalty to Francis, who tells him he sees that he'll do anything to stay alive. He tells him there are things worse than death and that Narcisse will soon find out. And I'm happy he didn't kill him because I really like Narcisse's character. He's a very good villain. He's been a very good villain, and I've really been into him as a villain. So if they would have killed him off, I would not exactly have been happy. So I'm happy they didn't. Louie tells Hugh's wife that he needs information, but she says if she talks, they will kill her. Mary promises her protection if she helps them. She says the Protestant madness must stop. The woman says Hugo was forced. Mary asks if she knows Severin, and she says he was a farmer until his minister's son was strung up by the crown, and she says they came back looking for money to leave the country, and basically they made plans to pick up money from a peasant house nearby. And Louie wants to go report back to the castle, but she says she has to go to the house with Louie now. She says she can't identify them, lies, and she says she was huddled in a doorway. He says they need guards, but she insists she has a dagger, says they have to capture them alive so she can hang them publicly for treason. And he says they'll drag them back to court tomorrow. They'll drag them back to court together, and I definitely really like that scene. So, Catherine puts a potion in some soup. By the way, every scene with Mary and Louie, they have so much chemistry. Really, they have so much chemistry. And after this episode, I would be fine with them getting together. I really would. I like them. They're getting closer. And I'd be fine with them getting together. I really would. I mean, Francis is becoming very unlikable, but he's supposed to be because he's becoming like his father. That's what it's showing, is that him being king is basically killing him. And if he keeps doing what he's doing, it's going to get him killed. It is. He's going to end up just like Henry, and he doesn't even realize it. So Catherine puts a potion in some soup, then brings a tray to Claude. She says she's been on edge and took it out on Claude. She apologizes, and she apologized to Claude. And I'm just like, what? Why'd you apologize to her? But it did make sense what Catherine said. Claude says she's never been this harsh on her other children. Catherine tells her she's trying to apologize. But Claude, let me tell you something. Her other children did not kill her siblings. So, just, you have no, you should, that's not a valid thing to say. So she tells Claude she loves her and doesn't want her to suffer more than she already has. She says she hasn't been much of a mother and says it was about time she behaved as such. She gets the bowl, tries to free Claude. She says she shouldn't have been better to her when she was young and asks her forgiveness. And Claude accepts a bite of soup, and I like what this is trying to show. What it's kind of trying to show is that Catherine is realizing that Claude would not have done what she did if she paid more attention to her and wasn't didn't spoil the twins as much. And basically, Catherine whispers to her to forgive her and everything, and, she says the only thing she wants is for their forgiveness, and she says she, she whispers to her to forgive her, and I thought that was interesting what's going on there. I definitely thought that was very interesting. So, Leith sees all the hanged bodies, then goes see Francis. He asks him about Lord Castleroy and asks him to set him free. Leith says that, he basically says that Castleroy is not his enemy. Francis says he's waiting to be questioned, and Leith says the men are dying while they wait, and Leith reminds him of their time in combat and says he should show mercy to one man, and Francis says he can't, and Leith says when he took his lands, he told him he would pay him back one day, and Leith says this is what he wants in repayment, and Francis asks if he's sure, and Leith goes to the dungeon, gets Castleroy, brings him to Greer. She tells her husband he's free. She's very happy about this. Leith unlocks him. Castleroy thanks Leith, and he tells them they're still in danger. He tells them not to come back, and Greer looks back at Leith as they go, and then Castleroy does too. They leave, and they're leaving, basically. They're leaving France, and I think it's best that they do because of what's going on. It's not safe for Castleroy right now. It definitely isn't. And Greer, keep in mind, has no idea what's happened to Mary. She has no idea that Mary was raped. She has no idea that any of that is going on. So, knowing that, I mean, definitely that's a reason to leave France, especially because of that. So, Louie and Mary get to the Penson's shack, and they hear the horses. The men are arriving. Louie tells Mary to hide. She does. She hides under the table. One of the men get closer. She slashes him with her knife, and Louie takes down another, then the last, and Mary looks at the man's face and tells him she remembers him. And he says that she deserves what he gave her, and Louie realizes what happened. She did not tell him that she was raped, and he realizes, okay, now I understand. And this scene was awesome. I love this. Mary tells him he'll hang, and she'll be remembered for hundreds of years while he is dead and forgotten. And Adelaide Kane just killing it this season. Awesome stuff. He says that God will grant pity, and she throws a lamp at him, setting him on fire. He's screaming. Mary tells Louie to kill them all, let them burn for their sins. She and Louie stand outside, watch the place burn with her dying rapist inside, and that was just awesome. I mean, after everything she's been through, just awesome, awesome stuff, and just, I love the acting, and especially Adelaide Kane. She's killing it. Best actress on the show by far. She's amazing. So next morning as they ride back, Louie asks if Francis knows. She says he does, and Catherine are ladies, but says it must not become public knowledge. And I'm glad he told Francis that he knows, because basically he doesn't want it to become public knowledge, and he says she can trust him, and she says she knows. And she's not sure she can go back to the castle after what those men did to her and what she did to them. And he says he needs people. He says people need her. And Bash finds Claude looking drugged up. She tells him 48 hours ago she had 2 suitors and now has none. She sloppily flirts with him and tries to hold his hand. She collapses and he asks how drunk she is. He touches her and she says she has a fever. Picks her up, carries her off, and Claude's not okay. I honestly would be fine if Claude just died. I would. I'd be fine if Claude died. I don't care about her character anymore. I've wanted her gone since episode. I mean, she's a good character, but if she dies, I'm not really going to care. So, I think they're going to give me to care if they are. If they decide to kill her off, I think they're going to give me a way to make her care, because I do sort of care about her after what Catherine said, But that doesn't, change the fact that she's just an attention whore. So Kenneth sees this, is not pleased, and Castleroy tells Greer that he should have listened to her when she wanted him. He asks if she's going with him, but she says she can't because Mary needs her. And she says if they both run, it will make him look more guilty, and they're not going to run away to her. So she says she can stay and protect him from there. She tells him to make an excuse for his absence and take the kids and go. He asks if it's not to be a permanent absence. She tells him she loves him. He says he hopes to see her again. They hug, and basically Castleroy's gonna be on his own while Greer is helping Mary. And she has no idea what Mary's going through. So I like that Greer said she can't leave because she's one of Mary's ladies in waiting. Obviously she can't leave. But also because she has no idea what's happened to Mary, and I want Greer to find out. I don't want Greer to be like the last person to find out. That'd be weird. Kenna, I don't really care. If Kenna finds out, I'm not really gonna care, because if Kenna finds out, if Kenna's the last person to find out, then she's the last person to find out, okay? I'm not really going to care if Ken is the last person. So Francis finds Mary and asks where she's been. She tells him that Severin and his accomplices are dead. She says Louie helped her find them and says he can't release the rest because it's over. She's crying and says it's over. She's so happy that it's over. She's really, really happy, but I think she's also kind of stunned because she doesn't feel it's over. But I love just the relief of everything. You can tell that she's relieved by it. You can tell that she's happy that she doesn't have to go through this anymore. And no mercy. Really, that's why the episode's called Mercy, because they show no mercy. So she says they can't put the pieces back together. She says she can't change the fact that she blames him, which she should, because it kind of is Francis' fault at what happened. And she says she knows it's irrational, but says her rape feels linked to him and them. And Francis says he was trying to save her life and asks how, telling her he could have changed things. She says she doesn't know, it could have gone differently or better, and now they'll never know because he never gave her the chance. She says they need to lead separate lives from now on, and says she'll leave with him, but will be his wife in name only. So he refuses, says, and that was huge when she said that. When she said that, I'm like, okay, he is definitely going to end up like Henry, because he just lost her. I mean, she basically just broke up with him. Even though they are, she is his wife, she just basically just broke up with him. There's no divorcing here. But I predicted that it was going to happen. I predicted that the two of them were going to get divorced. I predicted that that was going to happen. So, and he basically says, no, I'm not going to live with my parents. He says he loves her and knows she loves him. She says, look where that love has brought us. She walks away, and she doesn't really trust him now. I think she thinks he went too far, definitely, which he did. He went too far, and I like that Mary acknowledged that he went too far, because he really did. So Francis comes to see Narcisse in his dungeon cell, and he thought about putting him in with the Protestants and letting them tear him apart. And he tells Narcisse he's taken more from them than he'll ever know. And really, all of this is Narcisse's fault. I mean, if Narcisse wouldn't have told Francis that he knows, Francis wouldn't have signed the edict. This whole thing would not be going on. So I do understand why he wants to kill Narcisse. But Narcisse is such an awesome villain. We need him on the show. He's making the show stronger, and I love his character. And he pledges loyalty to Francis, who tells him he'll do exactly as he says, or else he'll take everything from him and kill him. And that's huge when he said that. Sorry guys, the phone is ringing, just ignore that. That was huge when he said that. And when he basically said that, I'm like, okay, this is gonna get crazy, definitely. And I love where that's hanging. I think that's great. So Catherine sleeps in her bed, but it's fitful, and there's something under the covers. The blankets rise beside her, there's a hand under their throat, and there's Henry! What? How is Henry alive? Because apparently he's not a ghost, he's actually there, and she says he can't be real. He asks, doesn't he feel real? And he kisses her and tells him the twins found him. And he says she mustn't feel bad about Claude. He kisses her again and asks if this feels right. He tells her they're going to have fun and tells her to say that she wants him back. She touches his face and tells her to say it. She says she wants him back. He kisses her, moves on top of her, touching her passionately. And I don't know what that is trying to show. But that's really weird, definitely. I really don't know what they're trying to show there. And I don't know where they're going with that. I don't know if he's real, if he's not a ghost, if she's seeing him. I mean, the show did not make it clear that he's a ghost or not. To her, he may not be a ghost. He may have faked his death or something. I have no idea. But I don't know where they're heading with that plot. I don't. I like it, but I don't know where they're heading with it. You know when you just have a plot and you don't know where they're heading with it? I don't know where they're going with that. We'll have to see, but I don't know where they're going. So, Louie finds his brother Anton in his chambers, and this is the end of the episode. He asks Anton if he had anything to do with the attack. He says no, and Anton says Louie's reports have grown briefer and fewer. He says he was supposed to get close to Francis and spy on him, but instead he's been spending too much time with Mary, and I love that Anton asked him this, because the whole season, they've kind of been foreshadowing, Mary and Louie. They've been foreshadowing it a lot this season, and they kind of finally showed it here, which he asked basically if he's fallen in love with Mary, and Louie's saying, "Oh no, that's not happened." And Anton asks if he has to choose between friends and family, and he asks if he will choose right. And I like that he said that, because Mary is not family; she's just a friend. And then the end of the episode is huge, because a serving girl brings Mary a note from Louie that had been lost in the mail, basically, and the note for him says he can't marry Claude because he's in love with her, so he's leaving and will be gone by the time she reads this, and Mary is completely shocked. She had no idea he had these feelings, and I love where this is heading. Because, of course, in real life, Mary and Louie were King and Queen of Scots at one point. So I like where that's heading. I think that's awesome. I love where that's going. That was the perfect way to end this mid-season finale, because now we got a big cliffhanger for Mary. She has to make a very difficult choice now. Does she want to stay in this relationship with, this marriage with Francis? Does she want to somehow fix it? Or is she more interested in Louie? I wouldn't be surprised if she's more interested in Louie. Louie was more there for her than Francis ever was. Francis has kind of been doing his own thing, and he's definitely taking things too far, definitely. And he wasn't honest with her till now. So because of that, I understand that he was trying to protect her and everything, but she clearly is hurt by that. She's clearly hurt by what he did. She can't get over the fact that some of this is his fault. I do like the way she handled their supposed breakup, because it was a very mature way. She didn't yell at him. She just tells him, "I don't think this is working out anymore." But you never know. He did tell her that he loved her, and it didn't seem like, she didn't officially break it off. So we'll have to see what happens there. Also, let's talk about Catherine. I have no idea what's going on there. That's kind of like just like a what the fuck moment. It's really weird, honestly. I don't know what that's trying to show, really. Because the thing with that I think is really weird is that how is Catherine seeing Henry? Is she seeing ghosts? Is she going crazy? Is he actually not dead? There could be a possibility of that. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he's not dead. There have been many characters on CW shows. That's just a CW cliche. They always bring people back, but you never know. I don't really know where that's going, but I like where that's headed, definitely. Francis and Narcisse. Narcisse is going to end up killing Francis, okay? He's not going to end up killing Francis. If they do kill Francis, I would not be surprised if Francis dies this season. I don't think I'd be surprised, because of the fact that Louie really is going to become the main character of the show eventually. It's eventually going to become Francis, Louie and Mary. Because if you guys don't know the real story, Louie and Mary did end up getting married and were King and Queen of Scots. So I really feel that Francis is not going to be around as much, and we're not going to see as much of him. We know that he thinks that he has all this power, but he's going to end up just like his father, and he doesn't realize it, and I really feel bad for Francis because of that, but it's a real tragedy, definitely. What's going to happen to Claude? Do you think they're just going to kill her off? If they do, I'm not going to care. We'll have to see what happens there. Greer. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen with Greer. Now, of course, Greer and Castlewood were planning on leaving, but they didn't leave because she's so concerned about Mary, and she doesn't know what happened to Mary, so if she does find out what happened to Mary, I'm very interested in seeing what her reaction is going to be. I'm assuming she's going to find out what happened to Mary. I'm assuming she's going to, but because she has to. You have to think that she is going to think of, what happened to Mary. But let's talk about the season overall. First of all, guys, I was surprised by how much I really ended up loving Rain. I really was surprised by that because of the fact that I initially, didn't watch the first season. I didn't like it that much, but I ended up loving the first half of this season. I love where the show is headed, and honestly, guys, this show made me not like the Vampire Diaries as much. I never thought I'd say that, but I don't like the Vampire Diaries as much because of Rain. I think Rain's a better show, in my opinion. And I think it just is a better constructed show, and the storylines are better, and I love everything about the season. The season really, it's had a couple bumps here and there, but overall it's been pretty consistent, especially after episode 6. Things really started to get into gear after that, and that's basically for my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw this finale. I thought this was an amazing finale. It was a perfect finale. It set things up perfectly for the second half of the season. I can't wait to see where it goes. The preview, I'm very intrigued by. We'll have to see what happens with Mary and Louie. They're definitely going to focus more on this possible relationship between them. But that's my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for a movie review, because this is basically the end of TV shows. The only TV shows left for the 2014 are Homeland, The Affair, and American Horror Story Freak Show, which are all ending next week. So there's going to be a lot more movie reviews. There's going to be a lot more Christmas movie reviews. There's going to be a lot more, there's going to be a lot more movie reviews, definitely, because I have to catch up on movie reviews for 2014. And I'm just going to tell you guys, this is basically the end of my consistent TV show reviews, because you won't see another TV show review till Saturday. The only one you'll see is The Missing. I mean, The Missing will be on all December. That'll still be on. But that's really going to be the only thing I'll have to review to you after Homeland, The Affair, and Once Upon a Time, which I will be reviewing, Jane the Virgin, which I'll be reviewing the season of, and also American Horror Story Freak Show. Those will really be the only thing left for me to review to you guys. The Missing will be the only thing left after that, because all the shows will be done, and The Missing won't be. Which I believe The Missing's ending like mid-January, so it's going to be around for a while. I know that. But that's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video. And, yeah, so let me know what you guys saw this episode. Honestly, guys, this was probably the best episode of the entire show. I was really into it. I loved it. And so much better than the Vampire Diaries, okay? I don't care. The show's better than the Vampire Diaries. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Guys, I'm not doing Golden Globes prediction video, by the way. I know you guys are wondering if I'm doing that. I'm doing that when the Golden Globes come. And if all goes well, guys, I probably will be able to do a live stream, because my copyright strike for Lord of the Rings Fellowship of the Ring ended up being false. So I now only have one copyright strike, which means that my Girl Meets World review is probably going to, come back and remain intact after that. So I'm assuming that I'm probably going to be able to do a live stream for the Golden Globes. I'm not sure, but if you guys want to know my thoughts on that, my next video is actually going to be a movie review for one of those movies that was nominated. So stay tuned for that. Okay, bye.